Welcome to the Joy Quota Podcast. I'm Dylan Fole.
And I'm Gavin Malcolm.
Our guest tonight is Scotty Wiese, a incredible magician. I was blown away.
You guys are going to love him. He's super, super wonderful. He's funny. He's super smart. He's incredibly gifted and has some wonderful tips on finding joy and magic and wonder in your own life. So please get into this and enjoy it.
I learned that very early. I was doing a show for my family when I was like 9 years old, and I handed the deck to my dad, and I was like, spread the cards, and it fell on the table.
Yeah.
It fell on the ground. I'm like, oh, I should probably handle the cards from now on.
Yep.
Which is hilarious.
So that was 9. How early was that in your career, or when did you start?
So pretty early, I kind of first found magic when I was about like 8 years old.
Yeah.
But I kind of always tell people, like, it sounds a little cliche, but like kind of magic was almost like a lifelong journey for me. And it kind of started when I was like, even before I like can remember, my first word was actually, besides like mom and dad, my first word was moon.
That's cool.
And I was so fascinated with the moon, like as a kid. And my mom always tells this story, like when she's like introducing me, like a family thing, that they would have to take me outside every night to see the moon or I wouldn't go to bed.
What?
Whoa.
So, like, that's how fascinated I was. Like every night I was just like, moon.
So it was astronaut or magic.
Yeah,
Those are the
exactly. Well, and I'm fascinated with like the moon landings. And,
Yeah.
I mean, because people thought that was impossible. It's kind of similar to magic. But my mom, when it was like snowing or raining, my mom and dad were like, "Oh, the moon's asleep. We got to see him tomorrow." But like every night, I was just like, "I want to see the moon." And it's kind of like nowadays, like I look up to the stars, and like even in the city, you can't see the stars. But if you go into the mountains and like look up, it's just
it's
like,
the best.
It's the best. It's that feeling of wonder that similar to like kind of a magical moment that singers talk about that just kind of leaves you breathtaking. So I've always not really obviously understood that back then, but my whole life I've kind of been searching for these wonder moments and kind of moments that leave you in awe. And my whole life I've kind of been, even before I found magic at about 8 years old, I've been fascinated with the idea of like making impossible things possible.
Yeah.
And obviously that's inherent in magic, where you show someone something and it can't be explained. You're like, that's impossible, but I just saw it. But even from an earlier age, I've been fascinated with like stories of, do you guys know who Roger Bannister is?
Yeah.
Yeah. The guy who broke the
Some dude just broke the 2 hour.
Yeah. So that's what reminded me when I saw that last week is, I did a thesis in high school on him.
What?
And because I've been fascinated. Obviously, I'm an athlete. I enjoy running. But it was 1954, and in like the 40s and 50s, there were these scientists who said it's physically impossible.
Yeah, you'll die
for a human to run a mile in under 4 minutes. Like there were sports scientists who said you can't do this. It's physically impossible, and no one did it because it was in that mindset. It's impossible.
Yeah.
I can't do it. And when he broke the 4-minute barrier in 1954, that's amazing to me. But the crazy part is within a week, 100 people did it.
Yeah. It was like
shock. I knew it was
There's
a lot
like
of people. I didn't realize it was
thousands of people
Yeah.
have done it
And
now. I knew a kid in high school who was like borderline close.
Yeah. Now it's like, I mean, if you're a star in track, it's like, okay, can you run under 4 minutes? Oh, you can't. Get off my team. Like, you're not part. Like, but it's crazy because it was just that mindset of people saying it's impossible, and once they showed it was possible, I mean, the sky's the limit.
Yeah. Well, I think that's just people in general. Like, I think that's why it's so important to really like experience other people's cultures and like different things and get uncomfortable. Because if you just spend your whole life living under one set of rules, you'll just there's all these 4-minute miles that just never get broken in your life, where you're like, if you grew up like only in a certain type of household, then you go someplace else and like you just don't even experience what you possibly could. Like you just get held back by your own beliefs.
Completely. Yeah. And so, I mean, my whole life I've been fascinated with like that, like with superhero movies. Like I've grown up loving that because I mean, it's that same idea. But I was about 8 years old when I saw magic for the first time.
What? Like, do you remember the actual trick?
Oh, I remember like it was yesterday. It's honestly one of my first memories from like when I was around that age. And I was at Skyline Acres, which is the swim club I grew up swimming at. And we had just finished swim practice, and I saw like a group of, they were a little older than me, like 4 or 5 years older. So I was like, I want to hang out with the older kids.
Yeah, I want to hang out with the middle schoolers. Yeah,
I want to look at me. I'm a little kid. And there was this one kid who was super nice to me, kind of one of my mentors. His name's Sam. I told him I was going to be on here, so
yeah,
Sam, if you're
Shout
listening,
Shout
out to Sam.
I would not be a
Mad props.
magician if you had not shown me magic. Probably
all of Scotty's accomplishments are now yours.
Once I get on the Walk of Fame, I'll put your name there.
Yeah.
But he wasn't really doing magic. He was kind of shuffling cards like behind his back, and just we would always play board games after practice. But he was doing all these like cool things. I was like, "Can you teach me how to do that?" And he was like, "I'll show you something better." And I was like, it was like an intense movie. It was like dun dun dun, like what is about to happen? And he did this card trick where he had me just pick a card. Yeah. Kind of like you. And at this point, I was like, what? Because I'd never seen it. So it was new to me. And he had me shuffle up the cards. I remember I could barely shuffle, but I tried to like stack them on top of each other. And he dealt all 52 cards into about 8 piles.
Okay.
And he specifically said it was like David Blaine. It was just very straightforward. It was like point to a pile. And I pointed to a pile. He was like, point to a card. I pointed to a card. I picked up the card, and it was my card.
Ah, that's the best.
So literally, I was like speechless. It was like 1 out of 52, and he was like, "Do you want to know how to do it?" Because he kind of saw my interest, and he taught me how to do that. And that's the exact same trick I teach people who are interested in magic.
That's a great trick.
Oh, it's an incredible trick. And I mean, obviously it shows the power of it that I still remember it to this day. Yeah. I mean, I've probably seen thousands of magic shows in my life by this point. Yeah. But I still remember that routine. And that kind of just sparked my interest from a young age.
Yeah. Do you remember the first time you ever saw a magic trick, Dylan? Or like when is the last magic trick besides me practicing?
I don't know. I don't have a good magic story, honestly.
I feel like that's pretty normal though.
Yeah.
Like I talked to most people, like we were so pumped that we went to your show.
Yeah.
And for like a week, we were just telling everyone, like, yeah, man, we went and saw a magic show. It's the best. And they're like, magic show? And I was like, yeah, like you go there and someone does magic. It's sick. And everyone was just kind of like wordless. They were like, I forgot that was a thing that you can do.
I've definitely been to one in Branson. I can't remember who it was, though. I wish I could.
Was it like a mentalism type show as well? Like kind of mind reading or?
No, it was a magic show. Yeah. But it was like they have a residency in Branson, Missouri.
Yeah.
I mean, because that's the thing. A lot of my mentors have like told me this, like, you have an opportunity to be the one magician someone sees in their life. Yeah. And I mean, that's an incredible opportunity to be like, because obviously a lot of people have seen magic on TV. But I would say a majority of people have never seen a live magic show.
Oh, totally.
Which is just like kind of an incredible opportunity to fill, and it just shows, like obviously how much potential there is to increase the awareness of magic in the community as well.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Like I remember as a kid going to the North Pole down in Colorado Springs, and they had like an illusionist that was on staff there that would do like pulling a rabbit out of a hat and like all the like. You know, top hat and tails, like cliche magic tropes, and it was the best. I remember as like a little kid, like that, and the tilt-a-whirl was like the only thing I cared about when we went there. Yeah,
but it's kind of cool because I mean, you kind of hear this in a lot of industries, but I truly believe that this is kind of like the golden age of magic right now. With magicians on TV. I mean, there's 3 or 4 specials on Netflix about magic now. I mean, Shin Lim just won America's Got Talent. He won America's Got Talent at the Champions, which is like the
real deal.
The real one with like all the past winners. And there's so many shows in Vegas now.
Yeah, and like the whole kind of popping up all over. Fool Us thing, I think. I
mean, that's blown
was
up.
Like a catalyst. Yeah. Because it gave a lot of. I think what's so cool about that show is it gives so many magicians like legitimacy.
Yeah, and it gives them.
It'd be the same as like. Dylan's a videographer and he goes and works on like one TV show that someone has ever heard of, and then all of a sudden he can charge more, he can have a lot more legitimacy, his information gets passed around, he's going to be the first round draft pick just because that one little thing. Even the magicians that don't end up fooling them, like, no, I'm at least good enough for the show.
Exactly.
And like I think that's such a cool thing.
Oh, completely.
That like you said, there's just everyone is seeing it more.
Yeah, now. Exactly. And that's why I love Penn Teller so much, because I mean they could have easily done just a TV show themselves.
Oh, they could have filled an hour every day.
Filled an hour, easily. They have so much material. But I've heard Teller especially interviewed, and he says like he wants to give a voice to like the younger magicians and the younger generation, which is just, I mean, hats off to him because that's just amazing.
Yeah, I look at it.
Isn't Teller the one that doesn't talk?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he gave an interview?
He does. So he talks when he's not on stage.
Oh,
but
I didn't know that.
They have a
silent
master
performer.
class where he like explains a bunch of tricks and stuff.
Yeah,
I think I picture those two a lot like Matt Hoffman for a while, like carried BMX on his shoulders. Like he and like a select group of people were like, all right, there's not really anyone into this right now. And if it's up to anyone, it's up to us. We're going to just like do whatever we can, like doing school shows, doing whatever they could for like probably like 5 to 10 year window.
Oh, yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like the next generation got into it. Like the next group of kids found BMX, found the passion. And then like within another 10 years, they like all kind of stepped away from that.
Yeah.
Well, but there were those guys that had the show in Vegas, and they were really killing it until their tiger attacked
Siegfried
them.
and Roy.
Oh, yeah, them.
Yeah. Well,
Right,
was that more of like a circus thing, or was that a magic
Kind
thing?
of a mixture of both.
Okay.
I obviously never saw it because, I mean, the show ended quite a long time ago. But, I mean, Penn and Teller have been doing magic longer than I've been alive.
Like 30 years.
Like, they've been... Like,
easy.
They were, like, one of my favorite clips of them is on the Tonight Show from, like, the 80s. Yeah. And they do a magic routine upside down.
I know which one you're talking about.
They're taped to the ceiling and they're hanging upside down, but the camera is flipped,
so you can't tell.
So it looks like they're like right side up, and they're like floating objects, but they're actually just dropping them. And then at the end, they like pan out to reveal like the secret, and that's kind of like their thing is they're kind of the bad boys of magic.
I like that. Yeah,
say.
They have taken an approach. Like I've seen a bunch on like Conan and a couple other things where they go on explicitly like, let's do the cup and balls trick, but we'll do it while we're using clear cups. So everyone sees the gimmicks that we're doing, and when we're loading the ball here and when we're palming it here, like everything is very transparent.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make it any less incredible.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what we were talking about before we got started.
Like sleight of hand.
I've been learning more about magic the last like year and a half. My buddy Ben took us to a Nate Stanifort show. Yeah. And I love Pete Holmes, who's like very much on brand with Joy Quota, and he's a big magic fan.
Yeah.
And it's a fun place to find joy.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I'm so much more amazed knowing that it's not actually magic than if someone was actually magical.
Completely. And that's kind of like the whole Penn and Teller thing you were saying is sometimes to create more wonder, because I find wonder when I'm a big basketball guy. Yeah. When I'm watching LeBron James go through the legs 5 times and dunk it on someone, I mean, like that's obviously that's not a trick. That amazes me. So it's kind of a mixture when Penn and Teller show some magic, but they also reveal it to kind of show you how hard it is and show you the sleight of hand behind it.
It's so cool. Yeah. It's one of the most impressive things and one of the bravest things I think any kind of like showman could do is go out and like essentially explain ridiculed. Word for word what they're doing and still blow someone's mind. Yeah. Like that takes so much confidence to be like, I'm going to show you exactly how the sausage is made. And then you're going to eat this delicious sausage once we're done. Yeah.
Yeah. No, because they were ridiculed when they first started doing this. There's this group called the Magic Circle in England. Yeah. And they got kicked out because they were like, their whole mantra is like, we keep secrets, we don't reveal secrets. And Penn and Teller were just like, F you guys, like we're gonna do what we want. And they've showed them.
And I think that that's another weird thing about magic that I don't think really any other industries experience is like if you do create something, you're kind of in a rock and a hard place because if you tell the world how it's done, it's no longer quite as magical, but also if you wait too long before you tell the world how you do it, then someone else starts doing it and they can claim that they invented the trick. Like you don't get the credit for it.
Completely. And I kind of like in my show, you probably saw a little bit, but this, do you guys know Matt Franco?
I know of him.
Yeah. So he has this show in Vegas and it's called Magic Reinvented Nightly. And his kind of whole mantra is about just kind of changing the whole stigma of magic of, I'm a kind of...
I was born on the tip of a pyramid.
I was pulling a rabbit out of a hat, like pulling a quarter out of your ear. He's a super young guy, like upbeat personality. And he kind of says, like, obviously I have to fool you because if you figure out how it's done, it's not magic then. But I don't want you to be thinking about being fooled. I want to kind of entertain you and bring you on a journey together. Yeah. And he kind of does this through telling stories and doing various things. And in my show, that's kind of what I like to do as well, is try not to have people think of like how it was done, but just kind of enjoy the experience. And I obviously in my show, you saw me tell stories and kind of relate it to real life in other ways. Kind of like I would say in a movie, you don't really think about how Superman is flying.
Yeah, exactly.
You just watch the movie and enjoy the experience.
Yeah.
And like when David Copperfield flew for the first time, I don't know if you guys saw that. When I watched, obviously it was in like the 80s, but when I watched it like on tape, I wasn't thinking, even as a magician, I wasn't thinking, how the hell is he doing this? I was thinking like,
what is going on?
What is going on? I feel like I'm in a movie right now. And that's kind of what I want to bring people, is just not think about the trick, but for 60 minutes, you're not thinking about anything. You're just enjoying the experience. All your problems are gone. You're not thinking about the divorce, thinking about the problems at your job. You're just at the show, experiencing it and loving it.
Yeah, that's a cool way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that that's... I was telling you when you got here, I was listening to that podcast with Nate Staniforth, and like he was talking about some essentially like a guru that he met out in India while he was doing his travels. He was explaining how like most people think, or like the best way to think of magic is someone's looking in the surface of like water, right? Like whether it's a well or a lake or something, and they see the moon and they're like, oh my gosh, that's the thing, that's the moon, and they're all excited and they're trying to like scoop the moon out of the water, and they're trying to somehow keep that with them instead of just looking up and enjoying the actual thing.
Exactly.
And magic is the key, like essentially the like ticket to being able to like look up for a little bit.
That's a great metaphor.
We're all just so stuck in our own lives of, hustling and bustling around. I mean, just being a human being takes effort.
Exactly.
And our brain is literally wired to keep us alive. And so any opportunity, especially when it's something that's focusing on wonder, like your show, or like a comedy special someone goes and sees, especially anything live,
exactly,
where you're kind of forced to be in the present moment,
completely.
I think creates that wonder and the joy and just kind of, for lack of a better word, like the magic, where all of a sudden you're present,
exactly,
and everything else kind of fades away.
And especially I think in today's, I mean, with everything going on with like technology, and I mean, we're kind of just not really, in Nate's book, he talks about like, we're not living in the moment a lot. Yeah. And I think whether you see a comedy show or a magic show or a play, and any kind of live entertainment kind of brings you back to the present. And whether it's magic or comedy, it kind of gives you that feeling of magic. Yeah. For lack of a better word, as you said. But speaking of Matt Franco, I know I was talking to you about basketball earlier. Yeah. So kind of going back to when I was younger, about 8 years old, when I was getting into magic, kind of dabbled back and forth, like just didn't really do much performances. I did a few shows like for my neighbors here and there. And
that's so rad, though. Let's not gloss over that. Yeah, you're going to put that as just like a chill thing.
Like
no,
you
that's
do that
that's awesome.
Living room.
So I would do it for my like family parties, and actually my first show was my neighbor's graduation party.
I actually remember reading about that on your website. Yeah.
So I was like 9 years old, and my neighbor saw me do magic. He was like, and it was for the school minds. They went to school minds, so they were like super smart, like math guys. Yeah. They're like, oh, they would love this. And obviously, hopefully they don't get mad at me if they're listening to this. Yeah. But the mom was like, yeah, they don't really have a great time talking to girls. So I think you would do a great job to break the ice.
Let's get an adorable little kid.
Let's get a 9-year-old magician to help him out.
Yeah, that's exactly what the girls do.
I've dated a girl that went to School of Mines, and I spent a lot of time on that campus, and I don't think she was out of line for saying that.
Yeah. So I mean, it was. I still remember that shit because it was the first.
What was the opening trick?
So it was actually close-up magic.
Okay.
So I was just kind of going group to group, showing people things.
Wow, you were like genuinely ready for corporate gigs.
Yeah,
right
I know. I was like, I had my vest on. Yeah. I was like, Google, give me a call already.
Yeah, exactly.
Dang.
And I was doing a lot, mostly like card magic things.
Yeah.
But I had gone to my neighbors the day before to set up some things in their backyard.
Oh, that's the best.
I kind of did like some pre-show where I put a hidden dollar bill in like a under a little stone, and like I put the corner of a card like in like one of the light fixtures. And so like when I ripped up a corner, I made it disappear. It went up to the light fixture, and these dudes were like, "How the did you do this?"
And greatest.
Like at that moment, I kind of realized like kind of the power of magic, and no matter like especially with like these kind of because before I got there, people were just kind of hanging out, but when I left, they had smiles on their faces. They were interacting with each other, so I kind of saw the power how magic can bring everyone together, which was really cool.
I love the pre-show work.
Yeah,
that is cool.
That's the best.
I'm not going to give you any hints about my pre-show work now. But.
I know. No, obviously it's part of the show and it has to be there, but I still wouldn't even come close. Yeah.
Man, I couldn't even imagine at 9 years old walking around and entertaining people and like having that pressure of like you have to. If you screw up, they're not going to care. But
yeah, that was honestly the good part. Is like a 9-year-old kid, they'd be like, "Oh, good job,
that's
buddy."
That's a great time to fail. Yeah.
If I'm like now doing a corporate show and I like drop the cards, they're gonna be like, "What the hell is this guy doing here?" But yeah,
that's sick. That is like the greatest. That's so awesome.
Yeah, so that was kind of what started me, and
so that was the hook, right?
Yeah.
Like once you saw what happened with them, you were like, "I'm in."
Yeah, so that was kind of the hook, and what I was saying earlier is I was kind of my two biggest passions in my life since I can honestly remember were magic and basketball. Obviously, besides like friends and family, but my two biggest hobbies were probably basketball and magic. And about 9-10 years old, I was kind of doing both. And up until like middle school and high school, I kind of started to drift more towards basketball.
Yeah.
And I was still kind of
especially like socially, everything's going to push you that way.
Yeah.
No one is like, I'm really encouraging my son to be a full-time magician.
Exactly. Yeah. So I was still kind of like practicing like card moves and stuff like that. Yeah. But like the majority of my
ironically still the best magician within like 1,000-mile radius. Yeah.
Well, thank you. But
just because there's not many people who have anything. Yeah.
But like kind of middle school and high school, I drifted towards like really focusing on basketball.
Yeah.
And I mean, and honestly, anything I do, I kind of go like 100%. Ask my mom; she would kind of try to bring me in when I was in like 7th grade. I would be out in the snow in our backyard, like shooting hoops for like 4 hours. Like getting those, like I would shoot the hoop, like go run to it before it could hit the snow.
Yeah.
And whenever I missed it, it was like, oh shit,
there it is.
There it is. It's in the snow. I got to make it every time. It was good practice. But then I kind of I played basketball all 4 years in high school at East High School, which is like one of the top basketball schools in the state. And then starting like sophomore year is when I saw Matt Franco on America's Got Talent.
No kidding.
And he was the first kind of like idol that like I could kind of see myself as. Because like in basketball, I had so many people to look up to. Like there's so many players that you can emulate your game
literally
after.
Every year there's some new dude who's breaking every record.
Whether I was working on my hops with LeBron or shooting like Steph Curry. I mean, you can practice anything. But up until that point, I mean, I didn't really think about it until like a few years ago. But Matt Franco was like the first kind of inspiration where I was like, he's kind of like what I want to be.
Like a Roger Bannister moment. Where
exactly.
It's like, oh, I could do that.
Yeah. And I mean, up until that point, like, I'd seen like David Blaine and other people on TV, but like that's not really my character. And I was like, oh, I love magic. Like it's cool to watch, but I didn't really see myself as that. But when Matt Franco ended up winning America's Got Talent that year, and that kind of just propelled me like, let's do this. Like let's do some more magic.
It is amazing how that Roger Bannister moment. Like
exactly.
I had a similar thing happen with BMX. Did you ever have anything like that happen with you, Dylan? Where like, well, maybe it was filming or maybe it was BMX, where all of a sudden you're just like, I bet probably with everything you're going through now of just like your journey of discovery that you're going through of like, I bet there's probably someone that you can just be like, if that guy can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't put any thought into it. No, but I'm interested in hearing.
Yeah. So Matt Franco, he wins.
So he wins, and I just started like a lot of the things that he performed on his show, like really resonated with me in my life. Like he kind of did a few presentations about like sports. Like
he
performed for the Patriots. He did a video with Gronk. And I was like, oh, let's do some magic with LeBron. Let's kind of get this. And it kind of inspired me to think outside the box of the traditional magic and kind of create my own magic routines. So starting about like sophomore, junior year, I just started like performing magic for my high school friends. And I was feeling like a lot more like secure about performing magic, and didn't really, because like in middle school, I was just like, oh, it's kind of like nerdy. Like,
I just want someone to like me.
The typical middle schooler, like, oh, I'm gonna avoid it.
Nothing is cool in middle school.
Yeah,
everything is like, eh.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Well,
what's
especially
you're gonna give me $100,000 cash?
Nah.
Yeah, I'm too cool for that.
No, but like going from sports to magic, I feel like
very opposite ends.
Yeah.
But the cool thing is, it kind of came full circle. My junior year, I was obviously performing magic for like friends and classes, and it was obviously the coolest thing in high school. They're like, oh, let's go to the back of the room and see some magic during math class. Like, screw math class.
Exactly,
Magic.
I don't need calculus. I need dope card tricks.
Exactly. But then my basketball teammates were like, oh, this is so sick. So literally before almost like every game and every practice, I would do magic in the locker room. And it was just so cool because it would like honestly like relax everyone. We'd have fun. It would kind of take our minds off the game.
That's like the greatest pre-game
I'm
ritual.
like, hey, if the Nuggets, if you're listening to me, let's get me
like,
in for some
so
games.
Fantastic. Like, because every other, like, when you think of like a sports team getting ready for an event, it's like dudes like hitting each other on the shoulders, like, let's get amped. Instead, it's like everyone wonder and amazement. Like, it's all.
I'll make the ball disappear.
Exactly.
Right. It's like almost like a meditation where you can just be mindless.
Exactly.
For that few minutes and just concentrate on just like what's happening in front of them. And forget about the game for a second and lose some anxiety, probably.
Yeah. That's a great analogy.
Yeah. I can't remember the psychologist who kind of talks about like getting in the zone, but it's kind of that same idea of like there's kind of special activities that you do in your life where you just feel like time is non-existent. You're just in the moment doing that. And like, I mean, both basketball and magic feel like that to me. Just kind of like and especially for my teammates when they were watching it, just like kind of forget all your worries. And that's, as I talk about, try to incorporate that into my show.
Dude.
And then actually like a year later, one of the best memories I have from my senior years, also with basketball and magic, my basketball team was traveling to Las Vegas for a tournament.
Okay.
So we're playing basketball in the magic capital of the world.
I was going to say, there's no way you didn't something's.
Yeah. Well, before we actually get to Vegas, I travel a lot for shows. I've been on hundreds of flights, whether it's on a big plane. I've been on small planes, but like we were on just a normal 737 plane. We start our descent into Vegas, and before this happens, our coach is terrified of flying.
Okay.
So he was like kind of panicked anyways. Like he just doesn't like to fly places.
Yeah.
So we're starting our descent into Vegas. As we're about 20 feet off the ground, the plane is literally, the wings are like rocking back and forth. Like I've experienced turbulence. This was crazy. Like the wind was nuts. We get like 5 feet off the ground. The wings are almost like touching the ground.
Wow.
That's how much the plane is swaying. I looked to my friend. I'm like, this plane is not landing.
Yeah.
And literally 2 seconds later, the pilot books it straight up in the air.
No.
Like he pulls
full blown abort.
Full pull up. Everyone like goes back in their seats. People are like freaking out. And I'm like, we're not landing in Vegas.
That's so crazy.
So we get like, it was literally like 10 minutes goes by. No one says anything.
What?
I know. I'm like, can the flight attendant come on and just say like everything's okay?
Anything.
Like,
hey
just
guys,
checking in.
That's weird. I promise we meant to pull out.
That is like so weird and
crazy thing.
Selfish.
I mean, I get it. The pilots were probably figuring stuff out. Like, I get it, but
I can assume
still.
Everyone was like, let's not give them the wrong news. Let's give them no news.
Yeah. But so like 10 minutes goes by. They're like, the winds in Vegas are a little stronger than we expected. It's like, no shit. Okay.
Yeah.
We figured that out too.
Yeah. When you tried to Tokyo drift onto the runway.
This isn't Top Gun, buddy. But they were like, the Vegas airport just closed. we closed the Vegas airport because of our landing.
Yeah.
We're going to be landing, I can't remember, it was some city in Northern California. So we're getting diverted to another airport. And later on in the day, we see our plane is on the news, and we see we see the plane rocking, and they're like 70 mile per hour winds, closes Vegas airport for like an hour. So then we land in California. People are still kind of like not like scared, but kind of just like a little anxious, nervous. I mean, it's like
just about anyone.
Yeah, and it was only like 30 minutes, so it wasn't like we had time to kind of relax. And so we land, we get to the gate. Yeah. And the flight attendants say, if you want to get off, stretch your legs, you can. My teammate nudges me, and he hands me a deck of cards. He's like, it's your time.
No
and
way.
I pull out the deck of cards, and I just start doing magic for literally everyone on the plane.
That is so sick.
And it was so cool because, like, obviously I was doing it for my teammates, but, like, people from the front row were hearing, like, holy shit. And they were coming out to see what was going on. And it was one of those moments, again, where I just kind of saw, like, in the heat of the moment where everyone was kind of just, like, kind of panicked, kind of nervous, didn't really know what to do.
At a minimum annoyed.
Yeah, at a minimum annoyed, like freaking out. Magic kind of broke down that barrier and kind of brought everyone together. And I mean, when you looked at the plane, my friend has a few videos of it. Just everyone's like smiling and laughing. The flight attendants are like, we've never seen this before. This is pretty cool. So that was definitely an awesome experience.
Dude, that is exactly why I love magic.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it is so cool to see a show. Everyone should go see a show.
Yeah.
But like that,
those moments
is why, like, I even like before. So I like in the back of my head, I was like, I should learn a trick or two for that kind of a scenario.
Yeah.
Where like even just like the person across the aisle, I do one trick and I'm out of tricks.
Yeah.
It's at least something.
It's something for their day.
That's the coolest story.
Yeah.
You brought the whole plane together.
Yeah, it was,
That's the best.
so cool.
That was really cool.
Probably I mean, I've performed in some awesome venues, but like that's pretty cool to say. Like I performed on a Southwest Airlines flight in the middle of an aisle. Like,
of course, it's Southwest.
Yeah,
that's not happening on Frontier.
Hey, our bags flew free, so no worries.
Dude, that's the greatest.
Oh, it was so cool. And then so we have more magic on this trip.
Yeah, I was gonna say because you're not even in.
We're not
Vegas
even in
yet.
Vegas yet. So this is the pre-show. As I said, I was just planting some seeds. I was planting some seeds. It all comes full circle. So we fly back to Vegas. We get there. We have a game actually that night. So we're kind of like panicking, like if we're gonna get back.
Yeah.
So we land. Our game's in like 2 hours. So it's like, okay, we can't go to the hotel. We just got to go straight to the game. So we get to the game. We have like 30 minutes. So we're kind of like screwed anyways. Don't have much warm up. We've been on a plane for 4 hours. We get blown out by about like 30 points, which was pretty rough. I'm not gonna lie. But I mean,
at least there was an excuse.
Yeah, at least there was an excuse. Our coach was just like, hey, it's okay.
Understood.
Understandable. So the next day, we have a game that our game is not until like 8:30. So we're kind of just hanging out with the hotel, and all the teams are staying at this hotel together. So like, I mean, you can imagine all these high schoolers in this Vegas casino. It's pretty
it's a recipe
crazy.
For
Yeah, exactly. But I was just kind of like during the day, my teammates were like, let's see some magic. We were playing like Xbox in the room. They were like, we want to do something different.
Also, shout out to the teammate that brought an Xbox.
Oh yeah,
he was the genius.
Hey, we were playing NBA 2K for like 10 hours.
That's a great idea.
It's a good way to pass time on trips. But so like they were just like, let's see some magic, and we kind of had the doors open in our rooms because all of us were.
Yeah, when you're
next to each
in
other.
a place like that, because I'm sure all the teams were probably there.
We were like right next to each
like
other.
I've been in like
the whole floor.
Other high school conferences, and like everyone just kind of leaves the door open, and you just kind of like mix and mingle.
Kind of go back and forth. So I just kind of start doing magic for my teammates, and I mean, a bunch of high schoolers just freaking like, oh my god, like the whole casino, like the whole floor can hear you.
Yeah.
So these players from other teams start coming up to watch. Yes. And they're just like, what's going on? And I see this happening. And I'm like, okay, bro, like take this. And I start doing magic for the other players.
Yeah.
And like more teams come in. Actually, do you know the Ball brothers, like LeVar Ball?
Oh yeah.
So LaMelo
never lost.
LaMelo Ball, like the youngest one, was at this tournament.
Okay.
I couldn't see him in the. I mean, there were like 50 like players watching around us, but I mean there were some like pretty good basketball players here.
Yeah.
What size rooms were you in?
Vegas casino. Yeah. And like your high school kids, you're used to packing.
We're sleeping
anything.
like 8 to a room.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I was like,
8 dudes in the bed, one guy on the
I can't
cot.
dunk tonight. I'm back. So I just started doing it, and the same thing. I was just like, what other like art form or whatever thing can bring together like 8 teams who hate each other?
Yeah, they're all specifically pitted against each other.
Like you never, unless you're like friends with someone on, but like we knew none of they were all out of state teams.
Like my NBA career depends on this moment, this weekend.
Exactly. And all these players were just kind of like, even like players from my team were like talking to other players, like, did you see that? Oh my God, how did you do that? And like, it was kind of cool, like how like bringing together people of, and I've done magic for people who don't speak English. And it's like, it can bring together people who like don't have anything in common. Because like astonishment, wonder, it's a worldwide language. Yeah, which was just so cool to see all those players together. And then later that night, we ended up playing one of the teams who a lot of players were watching the Magic. Yeah. And I get on the court to warm up, and like their whole bench is just like staring at me like, it's the Magic man.
Yeah. And you should have done like a ball vanish somehow.
The dude told me, he was like, "Don't you dare make the ball vanish when I'm guarding you." And I was like, "You better watch your jersey, or I'll do something to it." And like, I don't want to I don't want to say they like laid off a little bit, but a lot of them were a little hesitant to guard me. So,
yeah, dude.
So like,
if I knew someone was like crazy good at sleight of hand, I'd be nervous.
Yeah.
Did you win the game?
We ended up winning the next 2 games.
Heck yeah.
So it was the Magic that did it.
Dude, it certainly couldn't have hurt.
That is so great on every level. Like the playing part is incredible. Yeah. I love that everyone came together. Like that's a way better story than anyone has from like a high school conference they went to.
Oh yeah,
it's like,
totally.
I got everyone from every team involved. That's the greatest.
Oh, no, that's the cool thing. I mean, and for me, it's not just like it's not kind of like, I don't want to be like selfish about like, oh, look at me, I want to show you this trick. It's kind of just like, I like seeing, I mean, it's kind of like your podcast. I like seeing the joy in others.
Yeah, it's more of a gift.
Yeah, it's more of a gift. And that's why I perform. It's not for me.
As an entertainer, it's handy that you're the one that gets to give the gift. But it is a gift.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, performers talk about this a lot, is like, if you do the same show 500 times in a row, it'll get pretty boring. But if you have a different crowd and you can see their reactions and that's what I enjoy, is
the focus is
on them. And like, obviously my show is rehearsed so much that I could honestly do it in my sleep. But it's the reactions of others and kind of interacting with people, getting to know people that I like really enjoy.
Yeah, well, and like you said, every show is gonna be different because of the crowd, not because of you. Yeah, like that kid that was is one of the last bits, who was just like fighting you so much. Yeah. I wanted to like get up and hit this kid. I was like, just chill, man.
Oh, I know. It was like, I was like, was he the one with the connections? Yeah.
I was like, quit trying to ruin it for everyone here, man. Just chill. Enjoy
he
the show.
Kept opening his eyes, like looking behind his back.
Yeah, it's great. And it's still like the most unbelievable trick, regardless of this kid trying to like throw a wrench in it.
That's my favorite part of the show.
But like, it's all about what you can, and I think that's just anything. Like people usually think of emotions as something that they're experiencing. Yeah. And as soon as you try and share the experience, you're in a better place. Yeah. Even if it's like grief or like something that is maybe more of like a negative connotation, as soon as you try and share the emotional experience that you're having with others, that's where it stops becoming about English or any other kind of language or, which team you're on.
Yeah,
your NBA career counting on it. Like it's about sharing that emotional experience, which everyone can relate to and honestly wants to. Yeah. Like I think most people walk through their life desperately excited for the opportunity to emotionally connect with anything. Yeah. So I think that's what's so cool about magic, is it brings you right into the present.
Yeah, for sure.
And everyone is immediately experiencing the same emotion. Yeah. You don't have to wait for like anything else. It's just immediately everyone is going, what? Yeah. Everyone's in that weird place of like astonishment and total disbelief, yet absolute certainty that you're not an actual wizard.
Exactly.
All of those things are completely true, and everyone feels it at the same time.
Yeah, for sure.
And you get that amazing connection that's so rare in life.
And kind of what you were saying about whether it's like English or another language, I was actually going back to high school. It was end of my sophomore year. I was in Spain for about 3 weeks. for an exchange program. And I spoke some Spanish, but I mean, I wasn't like completely.
Yeah, you're not gonna get lost, but you're also not.
But I'm not gonna like start a conversation with someone at the coffee shop like right off the bat. And so I was staying with this kid Ismail, who he came to live with me, and then I went to live with him. And I was living with his family, and he was like, "Oh, let's go hang out with my friends." So we went to this pool, and I mean, you'll learn this in any language, but like some of the things that you learn in the classroom, there's totally different words and
no one
dialects
uses it in real life.
So I kind of was picking up on some things, but they were talking about things and laughing, and I was like, what the hell does that mean? So Ismail was like, start doing some magic for them. So all I really knew was like pick a card, and that's like the only I don't even remember how to say that anymore. I don't even know what card I don't even know what card is anymore. But he like taught me that, and I didn't talk the rest of the time. All I did was have a kid sign a card. So I like handed him a marker. And I did like a signing motion. He signed the card. He put the card back in the deck. I handed the deck to him. He shuffled it up, and I like put my hands up, and I was like, "It's done." Like I did that gesture. I pointed to his shoe, and I was like, I did like the untie your shoe gesture. He untied his shoe, and his signed card was folded up inside his shoe.
What?
And he would like that reaction times 10. He took off his shoe. He took off his shoes. He took off his shirt. We were by a pool.
Yeah.
He said some really, I think it was like, what the fuck just happened in Spanish. And he jumped in the pool, and he started swimming around it was like he had just saw the second coming of Jesus. It was hilarious.
That is so unbelievable. Yeah, that took a real twist.
Yeah,
you didn't even handle the shoe. It was just in the shoe.
It was in the shoe.
That is so sick.
Oh my god. Okay, so
I do that. I've done that a few times at some corporate shows for like some high value clients.
Yeah,
and like. I'm like, it's under the sole of your really nice $2,000 shoes.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, I don't want to pull this sole out. I'm like, you better, because there's a card under there.
You better, because someone paid me to be here. Yeah. If they see this trick not work, I'm not getting paid.
Exactly.
So how did you learn? From the beginning, like 8 years old, to any of this? Like, how did you learn that? You mentioned some mentors. Is that a big part of it?
When I was like, after that encounter at the swimming pool, when I learned my first trick, I was kind of, as I said, dabbling in it like middle school and high school. And throughout that time, I would go down. Do you know the Wizard's Chest?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a local store. A lot of Colorado listeners will know that. But they had kind of like a magic counter with like magic books and tricks.
Yeah, and there's like a box you can buy of like my first magic kit.
Exactly.
I definitely had one of those.
Yeah. So I got like magic kits for birthdays and things, but I really enjoyed like reading books and kind of trying to create my own routines out of the stuff in the book. So like a lot of books teach like methods, like how to do a certain card move or
like a double lift,
like a double lift or a sleight of hand. And from kind of day one, I didn't really like to do other magicians' presentations because I mean like. You'd buy like a packet trick from a store, and it would be
it has a script.
Yeah, it has like a script of like back when I was in the 1800s when I was on the riverboat. It's like I can't say that.
Yeah,
and get like
I'm 7.
I'm 7. Like I have to talk about like SpongeBob and like other things that like relate to me. So like ever since I was, and even now in my shows, I always kind of try to create different presentations based on the methods that I learned. So I would buy different books, and I also found quite a few mentors, like whether it's online or in person, that kind of helped me teach things. And even now I'm taking a show business class with one of Jimmy Fallon's writers.
No way.
And it's on...
In Denver?
It's actually online.
Okay.
So there's 20 entertainers from all over the U.S. And thankfully I applied and was accepted for it. And it's absolutely incredible.
That's so sick.
And it's been one of the coolest things, and obviously not learning magic techniques, but learning performance techniques.
Right.
So even now that I have like the magic techniques, I'm trying to improve performance or whether it's speaking and things like that.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
How did you even hear about that?
So I was actually in another showbiz course. It was called Showbiz Blueprint, which was mostly like magicians and jugglers and other people. It was mostly about like kind of the business of performing, how to make money, how to increase your money and doing corporate gigs, like how to get repeat clients, just kind of the basic 101 things like that. And the guy who was running it recommended me to like apply for this thing, and he knew Fallon's writer and kind of put in a good word for me, which was awesome. So
that's so sick. Congratulations.
Thank you. It's all about the connections for sure.
Well, and I think that that's a big part of it too, is like magic. We've been talking about how it brings everyone together.
Yeah.
Like that whole bringing of everyone together is completely worthless if you don't do something once everyone is together.
Yeah, for sure.
Which I thought was really nice about your show, is very similar to like Nate's in the sense that it was
like audience participation.
Well, and it was very much about like, hey guys, we're all doing this together. We're all trying to go to a place. We're all trying to kind of experience something together.
It's not me against you.
Exactly. Yeah. It's not just like, I'm going to be up here trying to fool you for the next hour.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're not going to get any of it because I'm incredible.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone hates that guy. So.
Yeah, because I remember as a kid, I would watch, do you remember the Masked Magician?
Yep.
And like, I was like, this guy sucks. Like, he would do cool stuff.
Yeah.
But also it was like I also don't want this guy to do well at all.
Exactly.
Like, all I want is for this guy to not do well versus like at your show, some little kid is trying to like essentially throw a wrench in the whole gears. And I was like, stop it.
Yeah.
You stop it, little kid. Like, I know that this is the best part of your week and I'm so happy for you, but stop it because I want to see how this ends. Yeah.
And that's why people all the time ask me like, oh, do people heckle you in your show? Like, do you have to deal with like crazy people? And it's like, if you get the audience on your side, like they'll be with you like the whole way. Yeah. And like I've had like a few kind of like when I was doing like some low end gigs at like some bars and other things where like some like drunk dude would get on the stage and like another person would be like, get the F off the stage. And like, I mean, they're on your side if they like you. So like you don't need to worry about that as long as you have a good performance style and the audience likes you. So
so what are some of the things you're learning that's awesome, or like some of the things that you've been able to like incorporate moving forward from all of these courses that you've been taking?
A lot of the showbiz course with one of Fallon's writers is a lot of like writing. So it's like script writing and developing your script, and I'm still in the class right now, so I've only been doing it for about 3 weeks. So the first week has been about like script writing. Second week is about kind of like blocking your show. So it's all about like performance artists. So it's
that's awesome.
It's really like helpful for me because I obviously have a really good magic background, but didn't really take any like theater classes growing up or anything like that. So that's kind of like, obviously I've had experience, which kind of people ask like, oh, did you do improv? It's like, no, I've just done a lot of shows.
No, I've just had to
figure it out. Figure it out along the way.
If you've been doing it since you're 9, I feel
like you should have seen my show like 3 years ago. You wouldn't have, but so it's still going on. So I'll keep you filled in with the progress.
Well, and I think that that's something for anyone listening, whether they're into like magic or whether they're just into any kind of performance or like skill-based trade. Like I'm a really good woodworker and like metal worker, and I do a lot of like handyman type stuff or like more like trade type things. And being a friendly person that can make connections has been the most useful out of all of it. Like completely. So many gigs have come up from like someone just needing a thing and then being likable, being on their side immediately. And like I think that that's something that people don't always, I think, recognize. Like they focus so much on the skills and so much on like, I'm going to be the most polished, skilled, in this case, magician that anyone has ever seen. But unless you develop the soft skills of like genuinely being like a good conversation or like
being a human.
Yeah, exactly. Like making friends, like the things that seem almost so obvious that you don't see them. Yeah,
one of my mentors, he says, I mean, it kind of has to do with that, but he says the word show business is the bigger word than show. So he's like, you obviously have to have a good show, but you got to have like the business skills, and that's the personal connections, the developing relationship with clients and things like that. Yeah. And I mean, for anyone listening, one of the best tips I got was write anyone like who does like a favor for you, just like a thank you note.
Oh,
because I mean, like we live in an age where it's like everyone just sends a text or an email. Like if you get like a handwritten note or like a gift card from someone, like they'll put that up on the fridge. They'll like remember you. And like I've had so many repeat gigs. Just, I mean, you don't do it for the gigs. You just do it because you want to thank them for the opportunity. But I mean, so many people have like, this is like the best thank you note I've gotten like in like 5 years. And like, I mean, it shows like that you care to them. And
100%.
I mean, it's effort to, oh, I got to go buy a card. I got to write it out. But I mean, like, it's only 5 minutes of your day. It's just
and like how grateful every time I write a thank you card, I'm like, oh man, I feel good.
Yeah.
I'm like, I forgot how freaking psyched I am that Maddie let me do this.
They feel 10 times better when they like actually open up a card and read it.
100%. Yeah. It's not even like you said, it's not like, oh, I'm just doing this for the business. Like, you'll actually feel better. Yeah. And like, you'll feel more gratitude towards the whole event, even if it was like kind of a pain in the ass.
For sure.
You're like, oh, that's right. I got to like pay my rent this month. Yep. This, like whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it stops being like a bitter thing of like, it took them too long to pay me. Instead, it's like, thank you for finally getting this check to me because it actually was super useful.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And speaking of, you said pay your dues. I was going to talk about it earlier. I forgot to say one of the shows, I don't know if you asked when I was doing my early shows. Yeah. But it was like one of the funniest moments I've ever had on stage. I was doing a show at this kind of music/nightclub on Colfax.
Great place for magic.
Downtown. Great place for magic on a Saturday night at 11:45 p.m. Yep.
That's when people are the most
That's when
interested.
they're ready to see magic. And it was at this kind of like music showcase, and I was doing a set in between the transition of the bands.
That's rough.
Which
no one expected
rough.
magic.
No.
Magic's only there,
and no one expects entertainment in between a set. Anyways,
right?
They're
We're gonna go get a drink. Yeah.
So, but I mean, the cool thing was, so I got on, didn't even introduce me. So I get up, adjust the mic. Hello, I'm Scotty. I'm gonna be doing magic for you. Like, how the hell am I supposed to win over this crowd? And so I was like, I got to do something quick. So I had a newspaper in my back pocket, and I just started ripping it up. And it was kind of like a classic in magic, like a torn and restored newspaper. And I restored it. And I just was like, I need to do something quick to get their attention. And I did it. And this dude in the front row just says, holy shit, do you see what he did? Like the loudest reaction I've ever had. So the entire crowd starts looking at me. I'm like, okay, here's my moment. I got their attention.
I've got one shot.
I got one shot. So I call someone on stage. Drunkest person I've ever had on stage. Like he was fine. He was standing up. He was doing okay. I did this thing for him where I had him think of a word in a book, and then that page like disappeared and like reappeared somewhere else.
Okay.
And obviously I just glossed over like a really cool trick.
Yeah.
But he was just like, oh my God, what the hell just happened? And he opened up the book. The page was gone. He starts to fall over.
Yeah.
Like his reaction, he starts to fall. Like he's literally falling face first off the stage. Luckily, I'm right next to him, so I catch him and like pull him up, and I'm like, "Thank you, that is my show. Get off stage."
That's the real magic trick. I didn't kill this guy.
I almost had a heart attack. Like he was literally falling, and like I don't even remember. My instincts just like took over, and I caught him, and it was just
dude,
like, Jesus, like thank God I paid my dues at those shows, and now I can perform for sober corporate audiences at 11 a.m.
Well, I think that's like something. Everyone wants to go like straight to the corporate gig.
Yeah.
Everyone, because that's just life in general. Like everyone expects to go like, I want it to be as easy as possible, as quick as possible, which is fair.
Yeah.
But I'm picturing like all of the things that I'm very good at now.
Yeah.
It's because I was so bad.
Oh yeah. I mean, you
I was
go
like
through
having
those
to go through these like, because like doing stunt shows on the BMX team, like I've done some terrible shows where like 3 people are watching and no one cares. Yeah. And you just have to like try and
you just gotta go
keep people engaged the whole time. And all right, so that's like a pretty epic story. What's like the worst, like the most hell gig where you were just like, wow, this was
like the worst show
I've
where
you're
done?
Just like, this was
oh man, that's tough.
Like a real
I mean, that one was pretty, like, it wasn't rough. Like, it was just, like, a crazy crowd.
Yeah.
There was one I did. It was a show in, I think, Copper Mountain.
Okay.
And I was doing it was like a combination of strolling and stage. And people were just, like, not ready for magic. And it was a stage show, but there was, like, so much going on. Like, there was, like, 400 people in the crowd, but there was, like, entertainment all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
And I, like, get ready to go on stage, and, like, the event planner is next to me, and there's just, like, people, like, walking in the... Like, they're not ready for a show. They're not sitting down. They're not doing anything. They're, like...
Especially a stage show.
Especially a stage show. So she introduces me and says, give it up for Scotty Wiese. No one hears it. No, it's just dead silent. I'm like, oh my God. No one even applauds. No one even like acknowledges her that she's speaking. Like, I don't know if these people were just like wasted or they were just like distracted. Yeah. It was honestly, it's kind of like a trade show. Like there were some booth setups where people, it's like, you shouldn't have a stage show with this.
Yeah, this is a weird place.
And so I get on, I do my show, and I mean, my show's a lot of audience participation.
Yeah, there's a lot of energy coming from you on the stage of like, hey, we're doing this together.
Yeah, and like
I'm going to serve the ball over the net.
Yeah.
You are going to reciprocate by hitting it back to me.
I can't just do like a cut lady in half, you watch it, and we're done. Like, I need your help. So I literally kind of started just doing close-up magic. Like, I had a lapel mic on so I could walk into the crowd, and I was like, you, sir, pick a card. And then like, I was like, okay, get on stage. So it was like, the show worked. It was just definitely tough. But I mean, the lesson for me was always like know the venue and know the event. So like and that was like a great lesson for me going forward, because I would never have suggested performing a stage show if I knew the setup of this event. Yeah. So I mean, even though, and I was actually listening to an interview by LeBron James. He's obviously I'm a basketball player, so he's one of my idols, and he said losing the 2010 NBA Finals was his greatest success, because it like accelerated his training and it motivated him to win like the next two championships. Yeah. So if you look at like your failures as successes or learn from your failures, then you honestly don't have any failures. So I mean, that was a bad show for me, but I ended up learning, so that will never happen.
And like the
again.
Value of like being able to like be quick on your feet and like, all right, I'm gonna abandon everything I have planned.
I'm not doing my set list. I am just gonna screw it. Yeah. So I mean, and you got to be prepared for any situation. One of my I actually did I'm doing a lot of courses right now, but I took a course. Do you guys know Tim Grover?
I feel like I've heard of the name.
He has this book called Relentless, which was like a #1 bestseller.
Again, I feel like I've seen that book someplace.
Yeah, you've probably seen it in like bookstores all over. But he's like in the sports world, he's like the best trainer out there. And he's trained, like he was Michael Jordan's trainer, Kobe Bryant, like Dwayne Wade, any like NBA like player who's done anything, he's trained them. And he did this course about kind of mental training in whatever career you're in. And his whole thing with athletes is kind of getting them mentally prepared. Because obviously if you're in the NBA, you're at peak physical. Yeah. But what separates kind of the athletes at the top is their mental preparation and their mental toughness. And he did this course about mental toughness in the business world and other things. And I was in it, so he kind of helped me with magic as well. And he said, you have to be like mentally prepared as well as like physically prepared for like any situation. So whether it's to act on your feet or to just literally go do like a close-up show like in the middle of nowhere, he's just like, you have to be so prepared at your craft that you can do anything, like be ready for any scenario.
Yeah, whatever needs to happen, you can pull it out.
And well, that's so huge, because that's not a natural thing. There's plenty of people that would just panic, but to be able to do that, I mean, and to know to take those kind of courses has probably been huge for you.
For sure. And like he compared it, like give people listening another example besides basketball, but like if you're like, obviously he said like if you're playing basketball, like you can't just have like I'm gonna dribble here to take a shot. It's honestly like an art form. Like he goes like it's a lot of improvising. Like
it's all improvising.
You don't know what the defense is gonna do. Like honestly with any sport, but like whether you're doing a business presentation and you were expecting 50 people, now there's 5,000. You better have a speaker. You better have a mic. You just got to be prepared for any situation. Yeah. So whether it's in business or anything, just can apply to whatever.
100%.
Yeah.
So what was your transition from basketball and magic to just focusing on magic?
Yeah. So after my senior year, I think I told this story in my show. I went to Santa Clara University for my freshman year. Mm-hmm. So I went to, and I was actually on the practice team as kind of a walk-on the basketball team. So I was playing basketball, I was in school, and I was also doing magic part-time. So I mean, it was a pretty full load doing student athlete as well as magic. And I did that kind of my first semester, and second semester I really focused on performing magic. And I really went out there, and I was in the Bay Area in Silicon Valley, so a lot of connections there. And I literally started, I think it was in February, I was just like, I'm going to stick to a schedule. I want to get a show on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night. Because I had classes on Monday through Wednesday nights. But I was like, I want to perform Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday if I can.
Yeah, just get the
I want
hours
to do it, and I obviously it's work, but I love doing it, so I wanted to do it. So I started just cold call, cold email, just literally hundreds of restaurants in the Bay Area, and got like no. Oh, I got a yes from them. Let's go do a show. And I kind of pitched doing strolling close-up magic while people were waiting for their food. And I've done that at a few restaurants here. And by about late March, I had a close-up gig Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at different restaurants in the Bay Area.
Wow.
And I did that at the end of the year performing. And I mean, you can do the math. If I get to 50, 60 tables a night, handing out a business card to every person, that'll add up. Getting some, and they were restaurants in the Bay Area where people from Google were coming to eat.
Yeah, exactly.
Like really, really established restaurants. And so I made a lot of connections there. And one of my mentors actually recommended me to do restaurant gigs because, I mean, you can get so many shows. Like, obviously, you can put an ad up online, but if someone sees your show in person, that's the best marketing.
Right.
Yeah.
They see the product in person. And I kind of do what I call in-show marketing, where I would say, do you mind shuffling up these cards? I'm going to show you what happened to me last night when I was performing at this corporate show.
Yeah, exactly.
I had never performed a corporate show in my life.
But when I was performing for Google last night, they freaked out.
Yeah, and they were like, "We work for Google." Adobe,
it's Goggle.
Oh yeah, Goggle.
It's different.
But I would kind of just put this. I mean, obviously, it's not the best. You could say it's
being there before you get there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's kind of the idea of fake it until you make it.
Yeah,
but,
right. You have to. Everyone does.
But these kind of event planners and like marketing people who are seeing me are like, oh, you do corporate shows? Because I mean, no one's gonna think, oh, that magician was good, I'm gonna hire him for my corporate event. Like, they're not. You have to make that connection for them. So like on my business card, I would have like corporate events, but I would say to them like, oh yeah, at this corporate event, I'm gonna show you what happened, and then I would go into the routine, and that would kind of just stay in there.
That is so brilliant.
Part of the pattern.
Yeah,
I didn't. My mentor told me to do that, but it's
really good.
Still brilliant, and that got me a lot of corporate shows in the Bay Area. And then after my freshman year in college, I mean, especially that second semester, I was just like, I'm really focusing. Like, I was reading like 50 books that year just on like magic.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, I was doing stuff for my classes, but I was just so passionate about magic. And after my freshman year, I was just like, I want to do this full time. Like, this is what makes me happy. This is my passion. I don't really see me doing anything else in my life. So I decided after my freshman year to take a gap year and just try performing for a year. So like, see what happens. See what happens. And a lot of people are like, oh, this is like a bad decision. You should go back to school.
No one's convincing their kid to go full time.
Go be a professional magician. Who's heard of that? But like in my heart, like I just knew I wanted to go for this full time, and I knew I wouldn't be happy if I didn't try for it or go for it. I mean, it was definitely a hard decision because I love school, and I was leaving basketball, I was leaving the team, I was leaving my friends, but I knew I wanted to do this. And I did the same thing in Denver. Just started cold calling and cold emailing restaurants.
What's crazy is that you moved and chose to go full time. I would have stayed.
Yeah.
Like everything in
I had,
sense is like, I need to stay where I've already established some contacts.
Yeah. And I mean, I thought about that, but I also Denver's my hometown. And I knew if I want to live somewhere full time, I wanted it to be here. So I thought if I was going to start over, I might as well come back here. So I started doing a lot of restaurant gigs here. Do you guys know the Pig and the Sprout?
No.
It's right by Union Station.
Okay.
They're like one of my. I owe a lot to them because I literally did like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday like dinner, brunch on the weekends, and dinner on Saturday. I would do shows like pretty much like 4 months straight there, like before I started getting any real business. Yeah. And I mean, you can do the math there. Like
same thing.
A lot of content. I mean, if you get your name out there eventually,
someone will hit you up.
Someone will hit me up. And then once I had a few, I didn't want to obviously reach out to like corporations if I've never done a show like yet. Like I obviously had to like didn't want to like, hey Google, you want to hire me for? Google, you don't start there. You kind of got to build some. So I started doing a few like smaller corporate shows here in Denver, and got like some testimonials, got some good reviews. Got some photos of me like on a big corporate stage, so I had those. And after kind of I had a good foundation like that, in the meantime, I was taking this show business class, so I had a lot of good ideas of kind of how to establish this groundwork. and had a lot of good mentors, and then just kind of started to reach out to companies in Denver and around the US, like going on. I would set a schedule, like every morning I would wake up, I would work out. I usually work out every morning, and then after that, like 3 hours in the morning, I would develop to just like business relationship or emailing just random people, reaching out to LinkedIn, telling them I do corporate shows. And eventually, I mean, it's obviously a lot of work, but I wanted to do some shows. So I was passionate about the work. So
it's that or don't eat.
Yeah, exactly. and I mean, I didn't feel like it was work, because I was like, I want to get some shows. And after a while, that kind of just led to more and more corporate shows, and haven't looked back since.
Yeah. Well, and then when did you officially get your residency over at Bovine?
Yeah, so because
that's like a pretty big deal. You're probably one of like 2 people in Colorado that have like a legit residency in the entire state.
Yeah, so it's I got that in July.
Sweet. Heck
so I had a meeting with them, and I showed the owner some magic, and he was just like sold from day one. Like he loved it, and obviously I had developed this summer. I had obviously developed myself. I had done shows for Google and Adobe, so like he knew I had like a good show and obviously good connections. And I started doing it. We did like July, August, and September as kind of some test runs, just see how the show goes. And it went so well. We got like such good reviews that we extended it through March of 2020.
I know, which is exciting.
Okay, so when is your show?
So it's every Sunday night at 7 p.m. at Bovine Metropolis Theater.
Right off 15th.
Oh, wow.
So you can just search. It's called Mile High Magic.
Okay.
So since I'm a Colorado
native, he's seen it, and I haven't. So I'm gonna have to do it before I leave. I've got 2 Sundays left. Yeah. So
it's awesome.
I will make it happen.
Awesome. Oh. Yeah. So you can just search Mile High Magic online, and you'll find it.
So what's like the dream? Like where is like the ivory tower of like, wow, this is like what I would like ultimately want? So
I would ultimately want, a lot of people say like, oh, you want your own show in Vegas or something like that. And while that would be like really nice, I would want to keep creating magic in my hometown of Denver. Like I would love to potentially have this show on like Friday, Saturday, Sunday night, like in downtown Denver, be kind of like a staple of Denver, honestly. Yeah. Because like there's not, I mean, in all of America, besides like Vegas, there's not like let's go see the magic while we're there.
Yeah, there's literally nothing.
There's literally nothing. But like something where when people come to Denver, or the natives in Denver, like, oh, you got to go see Scotty's show, Mile High Magic. Yeah. Kind of a staple like that. I would love to do that for my hometown.
Heck yeah. Yeah. I'm all for that. Because, people, like even in Vegas, like most people don't think to go to a magic show, and it's still the magic capital. So it's like, being any kind of magic anywhere else with a residency is like unbelievable. It's unheard of.
Exactly.
And I think it's such a cool opportunity, like you said.
Well, thank you.
Bring like a new thing to Denver.
Yeah, exactly.
Because Denver has so many little things going on. We're like, it's like into brewing beer, and it's into coffee, and it's into all these different things. And there's no reason it wouldn't stand to be like the next cool place where someone can be like, oh yeah, there's actually like, and then, ideally one day like you'd get to give someone else like some stage time of like, hey, you're actually good. Like I'm gonna give you a leg up. Yeah. That's awesome.
For sure. And I was actually, speaking of kind of doing shows in Denver, I was with my brother at my apartment. Has kind of a nice roof. We were up there eating dinner, and you can kind of see Red Rocks from it in the distance. And speaking of like kind of goals, I looked at my brother. I was like, my goal in the next like 5-10 years, do the first magic show at Red Rocks.
That would be so sick.
That's like a dream, because I don't I've looked into it, but I don't think anyone has ever done a magic show. Like there's been comedy shows, but I don't think there's ever been a magic show at Red Rocks.
Yeah,
so
and it's like such an interesting venue to try and perform magic.
It's a magical place. Like it's the coolest place ever. I was like, oh, you could transport something to the top of the rocks, and there'd be so much you could do with the environment. And,
for sure.
That's the goal.
That's
for the future.
Like next level though, compared to like, 10,000 people. You're gonna have to adjust your show to get huge. That. Yeah. I mean, absolutely, that's the coolest thing.
The show I do at Bovine is more kind of intimate.
Yeah.
But I've done like the biggest show I did for Goo, it was 7,000 people.
Oh wow.
So,
okay, so you have stuff for that.
So like I'm I adjust my show for the size of the crowd. It would just be selling it out. Would be the challenge, but I'm up for it.
Dude,
heck yeah.
That would be sick. And like you could even bring someone else in, even if you weren't headlining, to like get the sellout.
Yeah.
As long as you were the opener, you were still the first magic act.
For sure. Like even bring in like I was thinking like I've done a few not like kind of like upscale open mics with like other comedians. And like I've done like stand up and stand up and magic, kind of like combining where I do like a 5-minute stand up set and then finish it with a magic. So like even if I did like kind of like a magic comedy show at Red Rocks, like
for sure,
I'm getting a comedian that's like a little like Dave Chappelle level. That would be big time. But like a comedian where I could even do kind of like a comedy magic show with would be super sick.
Dude, Pete Holmes would be the guy. He loves magic. Like I said, I was listening to his podcast and he was trying to mess with Nate Stanifor's like set essentially before one of their shows.
Really?
Have you ever done the NACA? Or
I have not.
Okay.
I know what you're talking about. I have a lot of friends who have done it though.
It seems like for those who don't know, it's basically you show up and you audition to college kids from around the country, and maybe you book 0 shows or maybe you book like 150 shows for the year. So like depending on what your show costs, you could easily make like $100,000 in a day.
Oh, for sure.
Essentially, and like a year's worth of work. Like you're set for the whole year. All the pressure is off.
Good way to go on tour for sure.
But it's a lot of like mega tours.
Lot of competition for sure though. Yeah. And I've focused, like I've done quite a few college shows, but my main market right now is like corporate shows, which I mean I love doing. It
seems like a way
great
better
crowd,
gig.
like obviously a little more upscale than like drunk college kids sometimes. Great venues, so it's
it seems like the way to go.
Yeah, I mean obviously performing, like I love performing for colleges because it's like you can kind of change up your material to relate to your peers and things like that. But yeah, NACA is a crazy beast.
Yeah, I've got some friends that they went to their first NACA this year and they were like, that was a lot. That's so cool. Sure. Heck yeah. So what, looking back, if you haven't already said it, what is like your favorite moment of magic? If you haven't already said it. If you had, just let us know what it is. But
I would probably, I mean, there's 2 or 3 that really stick out. One of them, obviously when I got into magic, when I first saw Sam, who showed me that magic thing at Skyline.
Again, Sam, this is all yours.
Yeah. Sam, this is your Red Rock show. It's going to be Sam. The Sam show. Obviously that one kind of sticks out in my mind, as well as, I haven't told you about, so when I said Matt Franco inspired me in my sophomore year, this August I was actually able to meet him.
No way.
For the first time. I was in Vegas and I was able to go to his show, and I actually was able to go backstage and meet him.
Heck yeah.
And I kind of told him my story for about like 15, we talked for like almost 30 minutes. And he's one of the nicest guys like I've ever met. Like super down to earth. Like we just kind of talked about life, magic, a bunch of things. And obviously that wasn't like a show, but looking back, like even like, I mean, that was 2 months ago, but that was kind of just like a full circle moment where I was like, you inspired me, and now I'm here talking to you about my show. Yeah, now I at least have
enough credit that I get time with you. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was kind of cool because he was just like, we were just like kind of friends talking, and it kind of felt like a full circle moment, which was just really cool.
That's way
Heck
cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So it was kind of your idols, or your idols become your mentors, which was it's really cool. I was thinking of the Drake quote where his idols become your rivals, but I was like, I don't want to become a rival with him.
Dude, that's so rad.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
And so he does a show in Vegas, so if you're ever there, he's one of the best shows I've seen. Super nice guy, so.
That is so great. Heck yeah.
For sure.
Is there any...
Well, I heard maybe there would be some magic performed tonight.
Yeah, for sure.
If we can do that, I would love to see something. For sure. Yeah. I'm wondering if this...
Can I get up from the mic, or should I stay here?
If you can be as close to... You can get up and then adjust.
Okay. Will do.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, you might want to bring the camera towards us. Is it okay if I do a close-up thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Take it off or no?
Yeah. If you need to. Oh, this is the best.
Okay, dope. We'll kind of get in that setup. Do you have your phone on you?
I do.
Do you want me to focus it on like?
Right now, I'll tell you when to focus it.
Look at that. The triple camera. You've already upgraded to the 11 Pro.
Got the 11.
Dang.
Only for the best. Do you mind going to Google for me?
Yes.
Shout out my
so
peeps
excited.
at Google.
I'm so excited.
Shout out Twinkle at Google if you're listening. Okay.
Because I want to be involved too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I want to just.
So I'm gonna be doing something on this card, and it's gonna be like this. I'll tell you when to film it though, so like you can be involved in it.
Okay.
It'll be like right there.
All right.
Okay.
Well, this is
Can
a new experience on the Joy Quota. We are.
I'm excited. Oh, yeah.
Can I go to Google?
Go for it. Yeah.
Are you on like strong enough Wi-Fi or something?
It should be, yeah.
Okay. In a minute, Gavin, since you did this earlier,
Yeah.
I'm gonna do this.
I'm so
Let me make
pumped.
sure. Okay, didn't want to make sure my phone rings. So, I want both of you to think of one image.
Okay.
Any image in the world, okay?
Got it.
And I'm going to search for something on Google, okay? Are you both thinking of something?
I am.
Okay, I'm going to search for... Let's do you, actually.
Okay.
Okay?
Seems hard to do too, yeah.
All right. Let me get
Yes
the
or no, is your
microphone.
image... Actually, since this is the Joy Quota,
Yeah.
I was going to kind of try to predict what you were thinking of. Let's see if I can try to read your mind. So let me back up. Okay.
Yes.
We're going to go to images.
Okay.
I want you to search for any image in the world that there would actually be an image of. So, like, if you search for, like, some, like, weird, like, concept that there might not be, but something
The
that's
meaning of
tangible.
life.
Yeah, something that's tangible that you could touch or see or hear. Do you got something in mind? Don't search the moon. That came to your mind.
No, that did not come to my mind actually.
That would be good.
Don't say it. Like, search it. And I'll turn around.
Witchcraft.
Witchcraft. All right.
And hit search for me. Okay, are we on there?
Yep.
Find an image that looks good to you, and I'll keep my head turned.
All right, I got it.
Okay, and then lock up the phone for me. Is it okay for me to turn around?
Yeah.
Yes. We're good.
So I'm gonna do a little prediction.
I wonder if I should have showed Should I have showed it to the camera?
Yeah, go ahead if you want.
So the camera knows.
Here, I'll turn around.
All right. There you go, camera. If you're listening to this, check us out on YouTube. Then you'll be able to see this.
The magic's even better.
Is it okay
The
for me to turn
magic's even
around?
better. Yep.
Oh, I just hit the mic.
That's all right.
Okay.
We're
Now I'm gonna go on my phone and search for something, and if they match, this will be a genuine miracle. Would you agree?
I'm
Okay.
excited.
Wait, before we go, you showed the camera, right?
Yeah, we did.
And before I even search for something, I always use this as like a little cheat code.
Okay.
We're going to get to this in a second. But based on, if you're watching on the camera, do you see how you kind of, I did this in the show where I was reading your body language. You see how you put your hands on your knees like that? Usually when someone is doing this, it means they're like, I don't want to say ready to like run, but you're ready to like look at something that's, I want to say alive. Is this a living thing by chance? Is this a living
I thought
thing?
I did this to get closer to the microphone, but apparently
Subconsciously
you've read
you
my
did,
mind.
but
Yeah.
this is a living thing, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, before I tried to read your mind, I said this is kind of like a cheat code. This has about like, it's on the back of my business card, what I give to people, obviously. It has about 30 random letters on here. I just want you to focus on whatever letters are in the name, and I'm literally going to burn the card.
Okay.
Should we get the camera?
Get the
camera,
a little
okay.
closer.
We're pausing right here. Remember, I haven't done anything.
No.
Okay.
I'll vouch.
Hold on the business
Yeah.
card face down so we can't do anything.
All right. I don't even know.
And this is just
This is the best.
this is just a lighter. If we want to use your lighter, you can. That's how fair I am. If you don't trust me.
All right.
Okay, here we go.
All right.
Turn the card over. And I want you to focus. Can you see all the letters?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Imagine the lighter literally burning whatever you're thinking of on here.
This is so sick.
And imagine all of the letters literally melting away.
Imagine the lighter starting.
I don't know if that's part of the trick or not.
No, it is. because there you go. You just imagined it, and I want you to concentrate on all the letters. You'll see all of them melting away except
Oh
for the one
my
you're
gosh.
thinking of.
This is so sick.
What the fuck is happening?
That is so sick.
Whatever.
Yes. That is the coolest.
So you can keep that as a little gift.
What?
Oh my god.
Next podcast I'm on, I'll actually make an elephant appear.
Dude.
Well, all right. For anyone just listening, you better go to the video because I showed a picture of an elephant on Google, and then he burned the card, and it says elephant on the back of his card.
And
What?
And I can tell you.
And you were holding on to the card the whole
I was
time.
holding on to it, and these were written on. All these letters were written on there.
As soon as I got here.
Like
Yeah,
before,
yeah.
like he didn't do this after.
Before we
Dylan
started the podcast.
Googled something. No, this has been set up the whole time. So unreal.
We are.
This is the
mind-blown.
best.
That
This
was
is
Joy
magic.
Quota.
That was magic.
That's the magic,
My
baby.
Joy Quota stick build. Oh my god.
That is a good one.
Dude, whatever.
That is
That's my
so
favorite.
sick.
That's my favorite close-up routine.
Whatever.
That is so rad,
So that's what brings me joy, is doing stuff like that for people.
dude. That is so unreal.
I got nothing on that.
Yeah,
That was just mind blowing.
because again, I've been trying
holding
to
it.
get into magic, and so like there's different points where like someone could do something,
Yeah.
but like I said, this has been written.
That was like one of
the
those
whole
David
time.
Berglass miracles.
Exactly, it's genuinely been on the card, like because he could have easily like while you were googling
And I couldn't
something
decide
done,
on what to write, and I'm like looking around the room. I'm like, and then I see a stupid elephant over there, so I pick it.
Hey, we're
But-
predictable. Our
Dude.
environment.
is
But still,
so
I was very close to
incredible.
doing. Well, when you first said think of an image, I thought BMX bike, and then I saw pineapple. I was going to do that, and then I was going to do elephant, and then I went with elephant.
I
But-
know.
People always change 3 times.
What?
It's crazy.
What?
I knew right away. I was like, I know exactly what it is. Didn't change. I have no I don't think it would have worked though. I think I would have had to have changed.
Yeah.
You would have asked like a question that was like, is this actually something?
That you could see or touch.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it was going to be. My favorite photo of all time is the picture of Matt Hoffman doing the mega ramp air for the first time. And I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
yeah, you can't write
Yeah, you
that.
can't.
Yeah, like
That's-
that wouldn't have worked.
That's not like an object.
But somehow
Yeah.
you would have known. Yeah, it's not an actual object.
Yeah.
Even though
I
it's
would
a
have
real
just guessed
thing.
Matt.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, dude. Oh, this is so sick.
This was so magical.
That is the best.
I'm glad I
Wow.
could impart some magic and joy tonight.
Well,
Heck yeah.
as my gift to you, I specifically learned a
I
trick.
love this.
I'm sure there will be zero amazement, but hopefully
I love seeing
there's
magic.
at least there's
There's gonna be plenty of
appreciation
joy.
or like knowing that I love what it is you do. If you could shuffle that, do whatever
would
you
love.
want to it.
Do whatever I want.
Yeah, you can mix those up as well as you want.
Can I
And
shuffle
then-
them face up into face down?
We will.
No, I'm not
So
a
there's
dick.
no need.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. And then once you feel good, just split it into
feel
3
great.
equal piles.
Perfect.
Equal-ish.
Is that good?
Okay, that is great. Now choose one of those piles and look at the top card. Don't tell me what it is. Show the camera.
Okay.
But I won't look.
Is that
And then place it. Yeah. And then place it back on the deck that you took it from.
Okay.
All right, cool. So then, like I said, we are going to. And glass table's not ideal either.
Yeah,
for,
exactly.
For cards, but yeah. So we're gonna place that whole deck upside down, and then we're gonna straight up shuffle, riffle shuffle this completely in half. Get them good and mixed up. So obviously, like some of these are up, some of them
Mhm.
are down, and
It's
then
chaos.
you take a look for your card and see if it is in there. God, again, not a professional magician, and glass tables not the most clutch surface to be
It's
performing
not.
card tricks. But if we go like that, do you see your card in this?
No.
Okay, so that because it's not facing up, we know it's one of the face down cards, right?
Yeah.
So that means that we should be able to split this into 2 separate piles, and then I will shuffle these, or not shuffle them, but essentially unshuffle them into face up, face down cards.
Okay.
I'm not a professional magician, so I'm going to need your help.
Okay.
Because I can't
What do you
do
want me to
this. So we're just separating them into like
this?
face up and face down cards.
Like this?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So anything that's so it's just like face up, face down.
Perfect.
And I'm not a skilled enough card handler.
No, you're good.
So I'm so shitty at this. All right.
There's beauty in imperfection.
Yeah. I'm going to give it a shot. All right. So anything that's face down, we can stack on here. So we know that yours is in that stack of face down cards because you didn't see it.
Correct.
So what was your card for the first time?
8 of diamonds.
The 8 of diamonds. If I've done this well, which I have not, that would be your card.
Awesome. Yay.
That's real magic.
Was magic.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
I think I might have messed up though.
Because
I saw there was an 8, but I thought it was the 8 of hearts. But it was kind of hard to see on the glass table.
Oh, that might have made
it might have been faces. Did you want to try it again?
Yeah, let's give it a shot.
Glass tables are always hard.
That's happened to me a few times. Pocket.
It's always because some cards.
Nobody listened to this game.
Okay.
All right, same thing. 3 piles. It doesn't
we'll
matter
do it
if
quick
it's
this
shuffled.
Time.
Okay.
Boom.
So we're gonna give this pile that you chose goes face up.
Hey, remember as I said, your greatest failures are your greatest successes.
I'm fired up.
You're gonna ball out.
I know. It usually goes like this. It's usually like I feel very confident. Missed the first round. All right. So same thing. We're just gonna look for your card if it's in any of those.
I don't see it.
Okay, cool. So we're going to pick these all up. Doesn't matter if they're in a mess or not. Does not matter. All right, same thing. We're going to split this into face up and face down cards. All right, survey says... Oh, that one's gotta go. There we go. That's like, ironically, one of the hardest parts is just shuffling.
It is.
Everything into face up and face down.
Wow.
All right, and then we'll stack up the cards, and hopefully, one of those 2 cards is your
Boom!
card.
6 of clubs.
Yeah.
You're a magician.
I'm a magician.
Okay.
That was beautiful.
Oh my gosh, dude. It's so fun.
And your elephant has the 6 of clubs on it right now.
Exactly.
Oh,
yeah.
then that would be...
Go open it up right now, dude. That would have been the best pre-show.
I don't want to ruin your cards.
That would have been so great. Go lift up the elephants.
You want to hear one last story about pre-show?
Yes, because those are the best tricks. Because
so this one is honestly it's
so
not
epic.
It's not even a trick. It's kind of just like a practical gag.
Yeah.
But so I was performing in January at you guys know Luke Bryan, country singer. Mm-hmm. His team, which CID Entertainment, they're like a music group.
Yeah.
They hired me to perform close-up magic at his festival in Mexico.
Okay.
It's called Crash My
That sounds like the best thing ever.
One of the coolest things.
Yeah.
Because I'm a huge Luke Bryan fan, so it was like same thing with like Matt Franco. It was like dream come true to perform with him at his festival. And I was doing close-up magic for people like as they were waiting in lines to get into the concerts, things like that. And it was a 4-day festival, and this one couple, they'd see me perform every day. And the first day, this dude was super hammered, and he looks at his wife and winks, and he's like, "Hey, Scotty, can you make my penis bigger?" I was like, I've never heard that one before.
That is so good.
And so I kind of just like brushed it off as a joke. Yeah. He says it the second day to me, and then the third day comes along. I'm like, I know he's gonna say it to me. So he was off getting a drink. I went up to his wife. I was like, "You want to play a little joke with me with him?"
Yeah.
So I asked her. I was like, "What's the name of his like doctor that he goes to the most?" And she was like, Dr. Smith or whatever it was. And so I pulled out a piece of paper and I said, "Prescription from Dr. Smith. Here's a pill to make your penis bigger.
Yes.
Love, Scotty," at the bottom. And I put like a little. It was just like a Altoid, but it looked like a pill. in like a little plastic bag. And I gave it to her, and I was like, put this under his pillow, like in the middle of the night or in the morning. Yeah. And so he comes up to me. He says, "Hey, Scotty, can you make my Venus finger?" And I was like, "You know what? You've been so consistent in saying this. I usually only use my powers for good, but I'm gonna try to do something for you. Look under your pillow when you wake up tomorrow morning." He's like, "Oh, okay." And the wife comes to me later on in the day and like, he has not gone out of his room for like 3 hours. He is freaking out about this pill. He like thought like the tooth fairy was real and like, that is so and then good. He comes out to me and I obviously tell him, and he was like, "That is the greatest thing that anyone has ever done to me." He thought it was hilarious.
That is rules. So sick.
Oh man.
Oh man. Dude. Now I just want to go to all of my friends' houses that I regularly see and just plant little gifts of magic in all of their houses.
Yeah. Teller has a really good quote, and he said, "A lot of magic is just going to really extreme lengths that people would not think you could do. Like, people would not think, oh, you're going to wait outside like for like 3 hours and like do something to my apartment before I get home to do like a magic trick for me." But like a lot of magic is just like preparation and practice for hours and hours to make like a move invisible that no one sees that leads to a magical moment.
Like I already know several of our friends who are getting... I have to first learn how to like force a card or something.
We can practice after
this.
Yeah,
I'm so pumped. The world is my oyster. Yep. I'm so psyched.
Hey, you want to open for Red Rocks with me?
Yes.
I can tell you're going to practice.
Dude, I've done some open mic comedy nights. We'll make it happen.
Yep. Let's do it. You can MC the night.
We'll get Sam to close everything
up. Shout out one more time, Sam.
Perfect. Well, yeah. Unless there's any other stories that you specifically want to tell.
No, I think that Crash My Playa Festival was a good story to close.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
That's awesome.
Well, heck yeah, man.
I guess we always like to end it with the same question we ask every guest. Mm-hmm. When you think of the word joy, what comes to mind?
For me, joy is just honestly, I mean, sounds cliche, but anything that brings me happiness in my life, whether it's basketball, magic, combining the two to give other people joy. And whether like anyone's listening at home, if they haven't, a lot of people come up to me and it's like, "Oh, like you're so passionate about magic, you obviously followed your dream, but I don't know what I'm passionate about." And I think that's a huge key to life, is finding what you're passionate about and going at that in life. I was actually watching one of Steve Jobs' commencement speeches from, I think it was Harvard. Yeah. And a lot of people reference this quote a lot, but he says, and I'm paraphrasing here, but he says, your work is going to fill a large part of your life, so you might as well do something you love. So if you haven't found it, like, keep looking for what you're passionate about, because you'll know it when you find it. And I think that's the key to me, is just work doesn't feel like work, because I'm doing what I love and spreading the joy to others. And when I see them having a good time at my shows, I have a good time. So that's what joy means to me.
Heck yeah.
Yep.
Well, real quick, some shameless plugs for your show and everything else. Any details that where people can find you, where they can come see you?
Yeah, so the show is called Mile High Magic, every Sunday night at 7 p.m. at Bovine Metropolis Theater, which is downtown Denver. Yep. And you can go to scottymagicshow.com for tickets, or just search Mile High Magic online. And then I post some cool videos on Instagram doing some magic, post some pics of my cute puppy I just got. It's just at Scotty Wiese, my name, on Instagram.
We'll link to that, but it's SCOTTYWIESE. I'll certainly be following it because I am still mind blown on looking at the back of this card.
Magic!
It's so magic.
Hey, my puppy's bringing some magic into my life right now. So that's another joyful part.
I'm going to somehow pre-show like something on your dog's collar so that next time I see you.
I told my magician friends, I said, my goal is to train my dog to help me out in my show.
Oh, for sure.
Like, that would be so dope to have like a dog come out and help me with something. So
or like
that's a little cliffhanger for you guys listening. It goes out into
the audience and selects a random member.
Exactly.
Of the
or like picks a card with his mouth.
Oh, so for this.
We got a lot of new ideas coming.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much,
Scotty. Thank you for joining us. That was so cool.
Keep spreading the joy.
Awesome. Well, till next time.